and welcome back to Through the Trapdoor. I'm Katie.
And I'm Emily.
And this is our podcast where we read you Harry Potter fan fiction.
I'm super excited for the chapter we're reading today.
I know. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
I have no idea what happened last week. I forget.
I just remember I was very sassy.
Yeah. And it was our longest episode ever.
Quidditch game happened.
Oh, yeah, and we got real pissy because they kept calling penalties on Wronski feints, which is not a penalty.
Which I did look up later. It is, in fact, not a penalty.
Sweet. Mm-hmm. That makes me so happy.
Yep.
Because I also realized so I just listened to not last week's episode, but the episode before, Neville's Plight.
Yeah.
I just listened to it. I know we listened to it some in the car, but we weren't really paying attention. Harry straight up says to Lesal, "I can't wait to try this." And Lasal's like, "Okay." Doesn't warn him that he's gonna call a penalty.
Yeah. Should have been like, "Oh, don't do that. I'll penalty call you."
I won't tell Draco.
Thanks, Lesal. So, just a quick little side rant on Quidditch.
I'm ready.
I don't know why I started thinking about this, but why is it that no parents
Go to the Quidditch games?
are ever invited to any of the Quidditch games?
Oh my god. Literally the whole time it bothered me.
Or why are there no, projects that, the students have to do, and then the parents all get to, come and tour the castle once a year, and,
Why is there no charms fair?
yeah, look at these cool charms things I did, or,
Why is there no charms fair? Because guess what? Guess who would have won the charms fair every goddamn year, and guess who wouldn't have been all pissy about their children opening a shop? Fred and George and Molly freaking Weasley.
Yep.
Because guess what? Fred and George would have got these marvelous marks because they would have won. And then Molly would have been like, "No, see, my children are fabulously intelligent. They'll run this shop no problem."
Yep. Yep. But just think of how awesome that would have been, once a year, a couple weeks before school closes, instead of having, they could still have finals.
I mean, they kind of still probably have to have finals.
Well, yeah. But, they throw this big fair for, a weekend where all the parents come, all the students have cool projects for one or a couple classes.
Why is there not an open house for parents and, younger children to also come tour the school? Because guess what? First years don't get maps.
Yeah. Don't even get a map.
And, I feel like Muggle parents
They would love it.
They would, I think, really appreciate knowing where their child was going.
Yeah. That also bothers me, that Muggle parents are not invited to the castle at any point. I get that they're Muggle. I understand. But...
No, but see, my thing, too, is, would they even be able to see the castle? Because it's charmed against Muggles to look like ancient ruins.
See, I think that it's probably Platform 9 3/4 or...
right, where they can go through the barrier.
Diagon Alley, where, they might not be able to see it originally, but, as long as somebody's "Hey, nope, it's right there.
We gotta go through this.
And they just, kind of walk them into it once they're inside.
Then they can see everything.
They'd probably be like, "Oh, this is Hogwarts."
Okay. Yeah, that makes perfect sense because they do talk about the Grangers being in Diagon Alley.
Yes. So, they're not supposed to even be able to see the Leaky Cauldron.
Right.
So they have to get in there
Ushered
somehow.
in, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So there has to be some way that, they could do the same type of magic on Hogwarts.
Right. Yeah, because as a Muggle parent, I don't know if I would sign any of those permission slips.
Yeah, I'd be like, I don't know where you're going. I've never been there.
Right.
How do I know it's safe? As, even, if we were to send our children away to a boarding school, we would go tour the boarding school first.
Of course we would. I don't know if I could handle that.
No, I don't think that I could. But I'm just saying, for some reason, if that were to happen, we would
tour
the boarding school.
The score? Tour the school. Gosh, this is going to be entertaining. We'll see how this goes.
All
right, but this is Chapter 8, The Truth Behind the Staff.
So excited.
This is going to be fun. Harry was in a daze. His friends had huddled around him, and a great cheer went up and he rose to his feet. But he paid little attention. Professor Lesal had gotten up and was concealing his hand. Why are you concealing your hand with your cape?
Remember at the end of last chapter, Harry caught the snitch.
Oh, but fell off his broom.
Because Draco cursed him, and LaSalle grabbed him, but it burned his hand. And it caused Harry to be in pain, like when he touched Quirrell.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Now I understand. All right. Professor LaSalle had gotten up and was concealing his hand with his cape. As he showed it to Dumbledore and Snape, they had all become very serious, and they all looked over at Harry. This is
dramatic.
This is taking a turn. Ron had come down and was busy saying something about Malfoy when Dumbledore came over. Harry, I need you to come with me. He sounded urgent. I feel like I put the right tone on that.
You did.
Ron stared wide-eyed and looked about to say something, but Hermione held him back. Harry obeyed, and he left his bewildered friends and teammates. Why are you surprised, Ron?
Yeah, Ron, this is year 5. You should be...
This is not a surprise
used
anymore.
To it at this point. Though Dumbledore is usually a little bit more subtle about it.
Yeah, he is a bit more discreet. That's in front of everyone. You need to come with me now.
Yeah, this would have been like, okay, everybody cheer because Gryffindor just beat Slytherin, and
Harry, can I see you in a moment?
Harry, come over here a little bit later.
Does your head still hurt? Dumbledore asked after they were some distance away. No, Harry replied. What happened? Harry glanced over at Professor Lesal, who seemed to be biting back the pain. Snape was walking close by his side, wand out, attempting to start the healing process on Lesal's hand, but it seemed that he wasn't making any progress. I don't know what happened, Dumbledore admitted, but I have an idea. Harry's head was swimming. What had just happened? The only time his scar had hurt had always been because of Voldemort. He looked sideways at LaSalle. What's going on?
So mysterious.
They walked briskly through the school and up the winding stairs to Dumbledore's office. Professor LaSalle sat down in a chair at the side of the room while Snape stood over him, guarding him. Okay, I don't think you need to guard him, Snape.
Yeah. Harry did not intentionally hurt LaSalle.
LaSalle reached out to try to save the falling student.
Yeah. Which I feel like there should be safety precautions in Quidditch, but that's just like a whole other side tangent we don't need to talk about.
Well, I feel like that's why there's always a teacher like Madame Hooch there. But LaSalle has a staff, not a wand, so I don't think he could hold that while he was flying.
Yeah.
Because every other time something like that has happened, either a teacher in the stands or the teacher who was refereeing did cushioning charms to stop them.
Yep.
Or slow them down. But LaSalle has a staff, not a wand.
Yep.
You can't really hold that and fly a broom. So I think that's why he
uncomfortable.
Reached out and grabbed him rather than, which would make a lot more sense. I don't understand exactly why that happened, but it's certainly not Salazar's fault. Dumbledore put up a hand and leaned against his desk. Sit down, Harry, and Severus, you should probably see to getting something to help your cousin. Snape seemed hesitant to step away, but he finally left. Harry, you came to me yesterday telling me that your scar briefly hurt. At that time, you were with Professor Snape and LaSalle. Harry had stopped to talk to Dumbledore yesterday, and he had been somewhat concerned, but had strangely relaxed when he had been told that LaSalle had been there. Yes, Harry answered slowly, eyeing Professor LaSalle with a new sense of suspicion. He then suddenly remembered. I think Professor LaSalle grabbed at my cloak. Did you notice anything? Dumbledore asked LaSalle. No, but I wasn't well, and I had just taken some potion that Severus made. He squeezed his eyes shut, seemingly against an oncoming migraine. Yes. Dumbledore nodded. I like that I acted out that nod.
You did. I liked it.
In case you didn't know, he explained, during Harry's first year here, Voldemort took over the body of one of the professors. I've heard of the incident, LaSalle interrupted. But what exactly caused Voldemort to have to leave the man's body? I never heard. You must understand, I heard about what happened from, an unreliable source.
I don't know who that was. Okay.
I'm going to assume a Death Eater.
Probably.
I'm going to assume Lucius.
Yeah. He would be an unreliable source.
Just going to throw that one out there. The charm that Harry's mother placed on him, it made it impossible for Voldemort to touch him. But last spring, Lesal cut in, Harry couldn't recall a time when he had ever seen a professor interrupt Dumbledore. The charm has been broken for him, Dumbledore continued, not seemingly bothered by the interruption. What's curious is whatever it is that caused Voldemort not to be able to touch Harry, you have as well. Dun, dun, dun. They're acting like it's a disease and not some charm. So was Lesal there the night
Maybe.
that Harry's parents were killed?
That is our current ongoing theory. Also, fun side note, I would just like to note that they just predicted that in the 5th book, the first and only teacher to interrupt Dumbledore happened.
Oh, yeah! Because...
That's a great impersonation.
Thank you. I try.
I don't know that you should.
Well, I mean, if we ever read anything with Dolores in it, I now have the perfect interruption cough.
You do. I like it.
Yeah. I mean, we do have an audio platform for Harry Potter. I feel like you've got a great Draco voice.
Yes.
Now I have the cough.
You have the great Dolores Umbridge cough.
I mean, it's perfect. Professor Lesal shifted around at his seat and looked down at his wounded hand. I don't know what it would be. There was a creak as the door to the office suddenly opened. A large black dog came lopping in. Harry, are you okay? What happened? Sirius had transformed back into himself and turned on Lesal. What have you done, Salazar? What are you up to? I saved Harry from breaking his neck,
True.
Lesal said rather coldly.
True.
And he closed his eyes again. Yeah, calm down, Sirius. Get the whole story before you start accusing. You are really, you're kind of known for this.
Yeah, he does really like to jump to conclusions.
But you know who else jumps to conclusions? Harry.
Yep. Also, Harry's already asked more questions about this incident than I thought he would, so...
Right. I'm very proud of him.
We're making good progress.
Usually he just makes assumptions.
Usually he's just like, sure, whatever, Dumbledore. I'm just gonna believe whatever I want.
Right.
Make wild guesses.
Sirius looked disgusted at his burnt hand. Why are you so disgusted by Lesal's burnt hand, Sirius?
Maybe flesh wounds disgust him.
Okay. I'm gonna just go with that for now.
Yeah.
We're attempting to find out exactly what happened, but I'm sure that it is something far beyond Lesal's fault or control, Dumbledore explained calmly. Sirius was about to say something, but Snape came back in carrying an earthenware jar, and he stopped at the sight of Sirius. What's he doing here?
His godson just fell off a broom.
Calm down. I need to know what happened to Harry, said Sirius. You stay out of it. It's Salazar that's hurt, not Harry. Now get out of here. Snape pushed past and knelt down before Lesal. I'm pretty sure Sirius can be there.
Yes, his godson did just fall off a broom.
And is involved in this.
Yes.
All right?
Calm down, Snape.
Lesal drew up his face in pain as Severus turned his blistered hand over, studying it more closely, then opened the jar and proceeded to rub some of the cream onto the burn. Lesal jerked back, almost causing Severus to drop the jar. What the hell, Sev? That's not regular incendium cream. Could you have found anything that stung more? I'm sure he could have.
Probably.
I'd calm down if I were you, Snape said lowly. That's no ordinary burn. He turned and stared hard at Harry. Sirius caught sight of the hostile look. It's not Harry's fault. I'm not blaming Harry, Lesal spoke up. Sev, will you watch it? Yeah, it's clearly Severus who's trying to blame Harry for this. When,
yes.
If it's anyone's fault, it's Voldemort's.
Yes. It seems to be the whole problem all the way around.
Can we just blanket blame Snake Man?
Yes.
Please.
Yep.
Severus looked irritated and slapped on more cream a little less gently. Lesal realized what was best and sunk back into his chair and dug his chin into his free hand, letting his staff clatter to the floor. Severus immediately jumped away from it. "Watch that!" "Sorry," Lesal mumbled, but didn't look at it in the least. Suddenly, Sirius backed up. At first, Harry thought it had something to do with the staff, but then he pointed an accusing finger at Lesal. "I knew it!" He grabbed Harry and pulled him back towards him. I'm confused.
Feels like Sirius is just jumping to conclusions here, kind of like certain someone else, like Harry.
Yeah. So let's just read on and see if he explains himself.
Let's see.
Dumbledore looked very concerned. "What is it, Sirius?" "Salazar." Okay. "Salazar. Of course, with a name like that." Sirius was wringing his hands and his eyes flashed at Snape. "Harry, what did you say the name of that snake was? The pet of Voldemort?" Harry looked over at Lesal in shock, and then at his godfather, who was staring down at Snape. Professor Lesal had looked up and was staring fixedly at Sirius. Harry couldn't read him. Surely what he had thought earlier after Hermione had showed him that book, it couldn't be true. Could it? "Nagini?" he answered quietly at last. "Nagini Snape," Sirius said with triumph. "Old follower of Voldemort, crippled by an aura." "So he turned her into a snake," Dumbledore said quietly. "Yes, Sirius, but she has nothing to do with what we're concerned with at the moment."
I like how Dumbledore's like, yes, yep, but that's not what we're talking about.
Right now, not
relevant.
Yeah. "Yes, she does," argued Sirius, stomping his foot.
Very serious thing to do.
Very serious. Harry wanted to step away from him. "She was Salazar's mother." Oh, there's a turn.
Didn't they talk about that in the last chapter?
I thought it was Snape's mother. Did I misunderstand that?
Yes, they did talk about that. It was because Snape's father didn't have any brothers, but he had a sister.
Oh, okay.
And that's who Salazar's mother is.
Okay, so I misunderstood because I wasn't the one who read that. Harry wondered if Sirius noticed the look the Snapes were giving him. Slowly, he inched towards Dumbledore. Even he had never gotten Snape to look at him so murderously, so full of hatred, and he hoped he never would. "His mother and Voldemort himself," Sirius growled. "He's got Lord Voldemort's..." Oh. All right, I have to finish reading. Okay. "He's got Lord Voldemort's blood in him. That's why you were burned, Harry. Salazar Snape is the very own son of..." Oh, snap!
This just took a turn. I like this version much better than the Cursed Child.
I was just going to say, Cursed Child, no longer canon. This is
significantly better.
Oh, damn.
Also, like that they predict Cursed Child.
Right? That Voldemort has a child.
This story is amazing.
I love this author.
Amazing job.
Can we turn this into a play?
This would be a much better play.
We still have to see Cursed Child, obviously.
Yes.
Lesal shot up out of his seat, knocking Severus backwards and causing the jar of cream to crash to the floor. He bent down and picked up his staff, which immediately turned green. "How dare you!" he stormed out. "How dare you say that!" "Salazar?" Dumbledore said quietly. Harry watched as he actually took out his wand and crossed his arms across his chest, making sure that Lesal saw it. So I'm wondering if that's like a white flag situation. Lesal shut his mouth and backed down, though it seemed as if he were attempting to grind his teeth to powder. "Lesal is not Voldemort's son, Sirius," Dumbledore explained calmly. "He's not?" Sirius took his eyes off the Snapes and looked over at Dumbledore. "No!" Lesal confirmed. "My father was a muggle." That's also a turn I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
Considering they made Snape a pureblood. However, we didn't realize Snape was a half-blood until later. Okay. His face twisted into a sneer. "I'm a mudblood just like you."
Well, Sirius is not. Sirius is a pureblood. Also, you're not.
You're a half-blood.
You're a half-blood. Also, again, Sirius is a pureblood because his parents were cousins.
Right. And the only reason Harry's not a pureblood is because his mother was Muggle-born.
So he's technically a half-blood.
Right.
Well, so he's a half-blood, but also, like, depending on how you define pureblood, he's also technically a pureblood.
Right.
Because both of his parents were wizards.
Are his children considered pureblood? Because their mother's a pureblood and he's a half-blood, so are they a pureblood or are they 3/4 blood?
I would assume that they'd be considered purebloods.
All right. Not that it really matters.
Because in that case, you could even go back farther and say that not only were both of your parents wizards, but both of their sets of, like, both of
all the grandparents,
are
wizards.
So they would be...
Right. Okay. 2 generations worth of wizard blood makes... Okay. Dumbledore threw Lesal a warning glance, apparently for his poor choice of words.
Probably because that's not what you are. That's probably what he's making the face at.
Right. And it's also not what Sirius is, but okay. Sorry, Sirius, said Lesal, in a tone that made it sound like when Malfoy was forced to apologize. Suppose you can't help yourself. All those years in Azkaban could easily cause someone to see a boogeyman hiding behind each bush. Then turned to Dumbledore. See, Headmaster, you wonder why we can't get along. I've been trying. Merlin, I've been trying. But neither Black nor Lupin trust us, especially Black. And he furiously whirled around on Sirius. You damn well think we enjoy dressing up as Death Eaters and think that any time we go back, yes, Sirius, it's real tempting thing to do. It's a real cracking good time we're having. Sunday, the Dark Lord himself took me out for a drink. It's been a hell of a hangover. Have to drink some vile crap Severus concocted just so I might not go insane. Oh, so Voldemort poisoned him. Why does he still call him the Dark Lord, though?
Probably out of habit.
Probably, because Severus always also did that out of habit. Salazar, Dumbledore broke in, may I remind you that there is a student in the room. But it's Harry.
It's Harry. Like, Harry knows what's going on.
Right, like, if they're, like, Harry, Ron, Hermione, they're gonna know everything, so it's fine. Lesal closed his mouth and retreated back into the chair he had been sitting in. He studied the mess the broken jar had made. He didn't even attempt to fix it. He just smeared the cream with his shoe. Severus looked irritatingly at it and pointed his wand down at the floor to clean it up. Sirius, I understand how you must feel. However, the Snapes have been putting their lives on the line for our cause, and I have complete faith in them. Sirius stared down at the floor and placed his hands on his hips with a long, drawn-out sigh. All I can see is like, like not another teen movie sigh.
Yep.
Type of thing. What about what just happened on the field? If that charm Lily put on Harry was to protect him from Voldemort, why is it working to keep Salazar from him as well? Dumbledore pulled on his beard. I really don't know. They're in no way related. I think I might have an idea, Snape said, stepping forward, and he glared at Sirius, and Harry had a feeling he was just drawing him to say something that could give him any excuse to use a hex. What's your assumption, Severus? Dumbledore asked, looking very interested, his bushy white eyebrows lifting.
I feel like they're basing this Dumbledore off of the first 2 movie Dumbledore.
Yes, the best Dumbledore.
Yes.
I'm sad he died. I do love our other Dumbledore.
True. He still did a great job, but
If he had been the Dumbledore the entire time,
it would have never been an issue.
right. But they cast him and then he sadly died. But they also cast him originally. The first 3 books were supposed to be 1 movie. But Christopher Columbus was like, ha, no, not doing that.
They probably should have been 1 movie.
I don't know. The first 2 could have been 1 movie.
The first 2, definitely. Maybe not the third. I guess the third had enough true content that it It was a good standalone.
Right. I mean, they did fine, but I also can see why. But I can't believe they were going to try to do that.
Plus, it's nice that they were all individual so you could see them, like, growing in between.
Right. It may be the cause of the potion, Snape began. He glanced over at Lesal, who only averted his eyes. A potion Voldemort made him take a long time ago, back when we were still his followers. Continue, Dumbledore coaxed gently, as Snape had stopped. I made it, Snape said directly. The Dark Lord Voldemort ordered me to. It was a modification of one of the first potions that he had taken in his quest to become immortal. Dumbledore looked slightly confused. Harry wondered himself why Voldemort would want to give one of his supporters immortality. The staff was killing him, Snape explained further. As you probably know, a mage's staff can only truly be used by a select few, sometimes with certain skills or bloodlines. The staff was carried by Merlin and many in his lineage, including Godric Gryffindor and Magin Maliflin, Lesal added solemnly. Many have tried to use it, and I admit that I should not have it, but it was not my choice. When Voldemort hands you something, you don't tell him, thanks, but no thanks.
True.
Yeah, because that's just, all right, bye.
Yep.
You're dead. He let out a long sigh. Grindelwald was one who tried to use it, but it helped lead to his downfall. That it did, Dumbledore agreed, and then said in a darker tone, Voldemort is too smart to take it. He stole it, but wanted for someone who he could use to carry it for him. All right, that makes a lot of sense that one of his followers would be given. Yeah, because if they die, okay, move on to the next one.
Yeah. Whereas, like, he obviously doesn't want to die.
Correct. And that was yours truly, Lesal said with a great deal of bitter sarcasm. He turned the staff over in his good hand and stared into the stone somberly. It was just faintly glowing, so Harry couldn't quite make out the exact color. My mother, he said, his voice tight, offered me to Voldemort while I was still a baby. I was raised for the purpose of carrying this infernal stick. Watching Lesal's expression, Harry suddenly felt very sorry for him. He couldn't imagine having such a weight placed upon his shoulders. It was just plain cruel, yet another life wrecked by Voldemort. Of course, the chances were that he would fail, that the staff would be too much for him, Snape continued, but he had held on well for some time. And after a few months, we knew something was wrong. I was still 15, but I looked 20, Lesal recounted. So Voldemort ordered me to concoct a potion to stop his aging.
Ooh.
Oh, so that's why he also looks so young.
Yeah.
Oh. And Harry, he seemed to be fighting back some horrible memory. And so I did. Voldemort gave me some of his blood to use.
Ugh, that's creepy.
That would be why Lesal can't touch Harry, though.
Yep.
Professor Lesal curled his lip in an amused sneer. Jolly good blood, brother, he mumbled. That's probably what caused him to have the reaction against Harry, Snape finished. It made sense, and Dumbledore went and sat at his desk. He'll probably pull out the pensieve when they'd all left, Harry thought. Did he already know about the pensieve in book 4? Or was it introduced in book 5 and she just predicted the pensieve?
Please hold. I need to look this up now.
I'm just going to keep reading and then you can tell me.
Okay.
Harry felt relieved yet disturbed at the same time. At once, he decided that he had been so very wrong for doubting Lesal's loyalty. He no doubt hated Voldemort for what he had done to him. But then, what about the Longbottoms? Perhaps there was an answer to that. Maybe, just maybe, he hated Voldemort so much that he was willing to stop at nothing to finally end him. He seemed to go through an incredible amount of agony in his fight. This new revelation felt no doubt like Professor Salazar Snape was on their side. And that much could be trusted. But did this make him any less dangerous? End of chapter 8. And because we ranted a bit,
Yeah.
we're at a good episode length, so chapter 9 will be coming at you next week.
All right. Any announcements or anything? Oh, I guess I should tell you about the pensieve information I found.
Yeah.
So the pensieve was introduced by Albus Dumbledore in chapter 30 of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
Okay. Great. I just was a tidbit concerned for a mo.
That was according to Pottermore, by the way.
Oh, great. Pottermore and Wiki.
Yep.
I follow them as fact.
Yes.
No, I don't think I have any announcements. Do you?
I don't think so.
Yeah, no, we haven't checked. I don't think any new countries are listening to us. I'm still like, hey, Germany.
Yeah. I think Georgia had a whole bunch of listens all of a sudden.
Oh, hey, Georgia.
Yeah.
Tweet us. Comment on our Facebook page. Email us. Say hi.
Review us. We'll read your reviews.
Follow us on Instagram.
Any of these things.
Comment on Instagram. Anything you choose to do,
We'll be excited.
very much so. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us on our journey through the trap door.
Please leave us a review on Facebook or iTunes. It would literally mean the world to us.
It really would.
You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Through the Trapdoor 16 or on Twitter at The Trapdoor.
And please send us an email at throughthetrapdoor16@gmail.com with any story suggestions. And as always, join us again next Saturday as we travel through the trapdoor.